Welcome to the School of the Lost Tribes. For the chosen of the Most High, who need to study to show themselves approved unto the Messiah, sign up at schooloftheLostTribes.teachable.com. Why did the Most High tell Israel not to abhor Edom? Deuteronomy 23:7. Deuteronomy 23:7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land. At first glance, this verse seems to conflict with later scriptures that condemn Edom, Malachi 1:2-3, Obadiah 1:10-18. However, the context of this command must be understood properly. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. What it means. The word abhor in Hebrew is ta'ab, which means to detest, despise, or treat with extreme rejection. This verse does not mean Israelites should love, trust, or embrace Edom. Instead, it means checkmark Israelites should not treat Edom unjustly in civil matters, e.g., trade, land disputes. Israelites were to recognize Edom as a distant blood relative. Esau was Jacob's twin brother. This only applied before Edom's full wickedness was revealed in later generations. The civil versus spiritual application of Deuteronomy 23:7. Civil law, Israelites were commanded not to mistreat Edomites who were living among them at that time. This was a law of fair treatment, not an endorsement of Edom's character. Spiritual separation, Deuteronomy 7:3-6, strictly forbids Israelites from intermarrying with foreign nations, including Edom, because they would corrupt Israel with their customs. Example: if an Edomite was doing business in Israel, Israelites could not rob or mistreat him unjustly. However, Israelites were not required to accept Edom into their nation or spiritual covenant. Later scriptures show that Edom proved himself to be a permanent enemy of Israel. Edom betrayed Israel in their time of trouble. Obadiah 1:10-14. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Edom helped destroy Jerusalem and cut off Israelite escape routes. This led to their permanent condemnation from the Most High. Psalm 137:7. Remember, O Lord, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, raise it, even to the foundation thereof. Edom celebrated when Israel was destroyed. God declares his hatred for Edom. Malachi 1:2-3. I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste. The Most High permanently rejected Edom because of their wickedness. Ezekiel 35:5. Because thou hast had a perpetual hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel. Edom's hatred toward Israel was perpetual, never-ending, so God decreed vengeance upon them. Isaiah 34:5. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, Edom, and upon the people of my curse, to judgment. Edom is cursed and doomed for destruction. Did this law change after Edom showed their hatred? The law did not change in ancient times, and it remains written as it was given. However, for the scattered lost tribes, it became extremely difficult to follow, especially when dealing with Edomite violence against them. Even for those awakened to their heritage, applying this law became difficult in situations where Edom actively oppressed and brutalized Israel. Because of this, Yahawashi, Christ, provided wisdom on how to navigate living under Edomite rule. Use wisdom, be wise as serpents, and harmless as doves. Matthew 10:16. Avoid unnecessary conflict. Agree with thine adversary quickly, whilst thou art in the way with him. Matthew 5:25. Survive under oppression. Yahawashi taught Israel to embrace Edom's oppression, but rather to navigate it with wisdom to preserve their lives while awaiting deliverance. Thus, while the law itself did not change, the reality of Israel's scattered condition meant they had to apply wisdom in dealing with Edom's violence and rulership. Edom betrayed Israel in their time of trouble. Obadiah 1:10-14. For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off forever. Edom did not just betray Israel. They actively took part in enslaving, killing, and destroying them. Because of this, the Most High permanently marked them for destruction. Obadiah 1:18. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. The word abhor in this context comes from the Hebrew ta'ab, meaning to despise, reject, or treat with extreme contempt. This command meant that Israel was not to unjustly mistreat or oppress Edomites in civil matters. However, it did not mean Israelites should trust, love, or accept Edom as part of their covenant nation. Later, Edom's hatred and betrayal led to their permanent rejection and destruction by the Most High. Obadiah 1:10-18, Malachi 1:2-3. At first glance, these verses might seem to contradict other scriptures that speak of Edom's judgment. However, understanding the historical and doctrinal context clarifies their meaning. Understanding, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. This refers to the fact that Edom, Esau, and Israel, Jacob, were twin brothers, for he is thy brother. This refers to the fact that Edom, Esau, and Israel, Jacob, were twin brothers. Today, they would be considered fraternal twins, but unique, because the Most High caused two nations to come from the loins of a black man and the womb of a black woman. Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. Genesis 25:23-26. The Israelites were not commanded to personally hate individual Edomites without cause. However, this does not mean Edom was accepted into Israel's covenant or that they were eligible for salvation. Genesis 25:23-26. The Israelites were not commanded to personally hate individual Edomites without cause. However, this does not mean Edom was accepted into Israel's covenant or that they were eligible for salvation. Not abhor does not mean accept. The command to not abhor does not mean to embrace or assimilate Edomites into Israel as equals. It simply means Israelites should not be unjust in their dealings with Edom on an individual level. The children that are begotten of them. What does enter into the congregation mean? Some believe it refers to being able to live among Israelites. Others argue it means they could partake in civil affairs, but not in the covenantal promises given to Israel. It does not mean Edomites could become part of Israel spiritually or receive salvation. The third generation condition. This means that if an Edomite lived under Israelite law and customs for 3 generations, they could be allowed limited participation in Israel's society. This is very different from inheriting Israel's promises or being counted as part of the chosen people. Does this mean Edom can be saved? This passage regulates civil treatment of Edomites within Israel, but does not override prophecies that declare Edom's ultimate destruction. Malachi 1:2-4, Obadiah 1:10-18. Later scriptures confirm Edom's judgment. Deuteronomy 23:7-8 is an early law. But as history progressed, Edom became a sworn enemy of Israel, and the Most High pronounced permanent destruction upon them. Ezekiel 35:5-7, Isaiah 34, 5-6 vare. Deuteronomy 23:7-8 is about civil treatment, not salvation. It does not contradict the judgment of Edom found in later prophecies. The Most High still declares Edom as a nation destined for destruction. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their 3rd generation. Deuteronomy 23:8, KJV. Definition and explanation of congregation in Deuteronomy 23:8. The word congregation in Deuteronomy 23:8 comes from the Hebrew word kahal, or Eda, both meaning an assembly, gathering, or community of Israel. However, its meaning depends on context, as it can refer to different levels of participation within Israelite society. Types of congregations in Scripture: the Assembly of Israel, national body of the chosen people. This refers to the entire nation of Israel, including men, women, and children, who were part of the covenant. Example, Exodus 12:3. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Israel. This congregation is exclusive to bloodline Israelites who are heirs to the promises of the Most High. The religious congregation, priestly and covenant assembly. This refers specifically to those who could participate in sacred ceremonies, feasts, and temple services under the laws given to Israel. Example, Numbers 16:3. Ye take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them. Only Israelites could fully participate in the spiritual aspects of this congregation. The civil congregation, general population living under Israelite rule. This included foreigners and those who lived among Israel but were not part of the covenant blessings. Example, Deuteronomy 23:8 refers to Edomites and Egyptians being allowed into this congregation after 3 generations. What does enter into the congregation mean in Deuteronomy 23:8? It does not mean Edomites or Egyptians could become Israelites or inherit the promises given to Jacob's seed. It means they could be allowed into Israelite society as residents under Israelite law, but not as equals in the covenant. They were never given priesthood, land inheritance, or the spiritual blessings of Israel. Exodus 19:5-6. Conclusion. The congregation in Deuteronomy 23:8 refers to limited civil participation in Israel's society, not full spiritual inclusion into the chosen nation. Edomites and Egyptians could live among Israel under strict conditions, but they were never part of the Most High's covenant with Jacob. Israel remains exclusive, and Edom, though tolerated, remains an outsider. Understanding third generation in Deuteronomy 23:8. Deuteronomy 23:8, KJV. The children that are begotten of them shall enter into the congregation of the Lord in their third generation. First, definition of third generation. In this context, the third generation refers to the grandchild of the original Edomite or Egyptian who settled among Israel. This means first generation, the foreigner who originally enters Israel's land. Second generation, the child born to that foreigner in Israel. Third generation, the grandchild of that foreigner who grows up under Israelite customs. By the third generation, the individual is further removed from their ancestral nation and no longer directly connected to the pagan customs and influences of their foreign lineage. They have grown up following Israelite customs and laws. However, this does not mean they are part of the chosen covenant people of Israel. They may live under Israelite rule, but they do not inherit the promises given exclusively to the seed of Jacob. 2. Clarification. Third generation means cultural shift, not spiritual inclusion. The purpose of this law was to regulate civil participation in Israelite society, not to integrate foreign bloodlines into the covenant. The Most High still maintained a clear separation between Israel and other nations, as seen in Deuteronomy 7:3-4. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them, for they will turn away thy son from following me. Exodus 19:5-6. Israel is chosen as a holy nation, set apart from others. A third-generation Edomite or Egyptian could live among Israel and follow its laws, but they were not Israelites by blood or by covenant. Third example for clarity. Example 1. An Edomite settling in Israel. First generation. An Edomite man enters Israel, but still holds on to his Edomite ways and beliefs. Second generation. His son is born in Israel, follows Israelite laws, but still has some connection to Edom's heritage. Third generation. His grandson has fully grown up under Israelite laws and customs, with no direct ties to Edomite traditions. He may now enter the civil congregation, but is still not part of Israel's covenant or inheritance. Example 2. An Egyptian in Israel. First generation. An Egyptian seeks refuge in Israel after leaving Egypt. Second generation. His children are raised in Israel but may still have ties to Egyptian identity. Third generation. His grandchildren know only the Israelite way of life, making them culturally adapted, but not spiritually chosen. Fourth conclusion. The third generation law was for civil participation, not covenant inclusion. The third generation in Deuteronomy 23:8 refers to the grandchild of a foreigner who has grown up under Israelite laws, fully removed from pagan influences. However, this does not mean they become Israelites or receive the covenant blessings given to the seed of Jacob. They are allowed to live among Israel, but remain distinct from the chosen people. No intermarriage with Edom or other nations. Deuteronomy 7:3-4. Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Lord be kindled against you, and destroy thee suddenly. Marriage with Edom, or any non-Israelite nation, is strictly forbidden. Foreign marriages lead to idolatry and corruption of Israel's seed. Nehemiah 13:23-27. Ye shall not give your daughters unto their sons, nor take their daughters unto your sons, or for yourselves. Did not Solomon king of Israel sin by these things? Even King Solomon, despite his wisdom, fell into sin due to foreign wives. Ezra 9:1-2. The holy seed have mingled themselves with the people of those lands. Yea, the hand of the princes and rulers hath been chief in this trespass. Mixing with foreign nations is considered a great trespass against the Most High. No covenants, treaties, or agreements with the nations. Exodus 23:32-33. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. Israelites must not make peace treaties or agreements with foreign nations. Allowing them to dwell in Israel's land leads to sin and idolatry. Joshua 23:12-13. Else if ye do in any wise go back, and cleave unto the remnant of these nations, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you. Making alliances with foreign nations results in punishment from the Most High. No allowing Edom or other nations to rule over Israel. Deuteronomy 17:15. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. Foreigners, including Edomites, cannot rule over Israelites in leadership or government. Lamentations 5:8. Servants have ruled over us. There is none that doth deliver us out of their hand. When Israel disobeys and allows foreigners to rule, it results in oppression. Isaiah 3:12. As for my people, children are their oppressors, and women rule over them. Foreign rule over Israel is a sign of divine punishment for disobedience, the proper treatment of Edom, according to the Most High. The Most High has given clear instructions on how the Israelites should deal with the Edomites. Deuteronomy 23:7 states, Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother, which means that while Edom is not to be treated with blind hatred, he is also not to be trusted or elevated among the chosen people. Esau, the father of the Edomites, was Jacob's brother, but he despised his birthright and was never destined to inherit the blessings of the Most High. Though he was born first, he was not chosen. He remains a part of the Shemitic family, but is forever separate from Israel, the true chosen lineage. Edom's perpetual status is much like that of a dog, acknowledged, fed, and even given a certain level of respect, but never allowed into the sacred places of Israel. Just as a dog is perpetually unclean, according to the laws of the Most High, Leviticus 11:27, Edom is forever unclean in spirit and intention. His rejection of the Most High's blessings was not an accident, but a fulfillment of divine will. He was not meant to walk in righteousness, nor was he ever designed to receive salvation. His destiny is one of opposition, and because of his hatred toward Jacob, he has continued to wage war, both physically and spiritually, against the chosen. Though Israelites are commanded not to abhor Edom, this does not mean he should be trusted or embraced as an equal. The book of Obadiah and Malachi 1:2-4 confirm that Edom is a nation marked for judgment and destruction. The Most High's indignation is upon them forever because of their relentless enmity toward Jacob's children. History has proven time and time again that Edom's treachery cannot be overlooked. From their role in assisting the Babylonians in destroying Jerusalem, Psalm 137:7, to their continuous deception and infiltration among Israel, Edom has shown himself to be unworthy of trust. The Israelites must deal with Edom with wisdom, neither embracing him as a brother nor treating him with blind, unchecked hatred. Like a dog, he must be kept in his place. A dog may serve a purpose, but he is never given a seat at the table of the master. Likewise, Edomites may exist, but they will never be among the righteous, nor will they share in the promises made to Jacob. The Most High's covenant is exclusive to Israel, and Edom will always remain outside of it. Though he walks the earth, his fate is sealed, and his time is temporary, for the Most High has decreed that none of the house of Esau shall remain. Obadiah 1:18. Thus, the Israelites must remain vigilant. They must not fall into the error of trusting Edom's words or alliances, for his nature is deceitful, and his hatred is perpetual. He is to be tolerated but never embraced, observed but never trusted. Just as a dog may serve its master but can never sit among kings, Edom may exist for a time, but he will never be part of Israel's inheritance. Conclusion: the fate of Edom and Israel's responsibility. Just as a dog may serve its master but can never sit among kings, Edom may exist for a time, but he will never be part of Israel's inheritance. His presence in the world is temporary, and his fate is destruction, as declared by the Most High. Obadiah 1:18 makes it clear that there will be none remaining of the house of Esau, and this decree cannot be overturned. Therefore, Israel must exercise wisdom in dealing with Edom. The tools given by Yahawashi instruct Israelites to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves, Matthew 10:16, not engaging in blind hatred, but also not being naive. While Edom may have power in this world for a season, that power is fleeting, and his judgment is sealed. The Israelites must keep their focus on righteousness and the promises of the covenant, knowing that the Most High is faithful to deliver his people and execute justice on their enemies. Edom's oppression will not last forever, and when the time of judgment arrives, Israel will be restored to its rightful place, while Edom will be blotted out forever.